Hey guys, how you doing? It's Bob Augusto here at Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. We're in the garage again. I have another project I'm going to be starting. It's the Yamaha 2008. I just picked it up in the fall. Took it for a ride. There's a little strangeness with the front end of it. I want to give it a thorough going over. It's definitely going to get new wheel bearings. It's going to get a fluid change in the forks. And while I'm in there, I'm going to kind of disassemble the forks to see if everything looks okay. I don't see any leaking there, so I don't see any issues with that. I'm going to do the triple tree bearings, take a look at that, repack them, put that all back together, and a wheel balance. And then after that, that bike should be ready for the summer as well. Maybe a couple of 1-2 day trips, as opposed to the Goldwing where I take that thing out for a week. So now that I get everything ready, I think it's time that we get this thing rolling. Okay, so here we go. Let's cue the music. And there it is. So before I go ahead and say this bike is done, I'm going to go through the front end and I'm going to make sure I have it all spruced up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the front wheel off. That'll entail removing the fender. We're going to take these off to remove the calipers. This is the ABS sensor. You can actually take this off and swing it away. So it's your standard, I won't say your standard operating procedure for removing a wheel. It's your double pinch bolts. You have your nut on one side, you get your axle through. This is your ABS unit. You got to be very careful with this. You got to keep magnetic pieces away from this. This will mess up the pulses, and you can totally screw up your ABS with that. So just make sure that when you do work on a bike like this with ABS, that you don't use magnetic tools like screwdrivers and so forth. So that's about it. This has a brand new tire on the front. It's an Avon. As you can see right here, it still has the lettering. I mean, this bike hasn't even leaned that far yet. So whatever I'm feeling on the front end, it's not tire. It's got to be balance, bearing, fork, neck. Okay, so bolt here, it's a hex. Not even sure of the size. I've never taken this bike apart. A number 4. Let's go ahead and crack it. So we got a plastic washer to protect the paint. It looks like it unbolts here, and the same spot on the other side, and then it'll probably walk out this way because it's narrow in the back. That looks to be an 8mm. It is. Oh, that came out pretty damn easy. A bit there, and this is coming out a little bit, so I might have to get some, just tack it in there with some kind of glue after I clean it up. There you go. So let's go ahead and work the caliper. I'm going to do it on the ABS side first. So you got this reflector, and you have this bracketing, and it's sort of an interference thing, but I'm not going to make it a big deal. What I'm going to do is just bend this bracket out of the way, and then I should be able to get in there, crack it. There you go. So I can pull that off. When I put it back on, I'll just straighten the damn thing back out. That's all it is. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. There's also a hex right here. I think you can see it. There's a hex right here that needs to come out as well. A number 5 here. Well, that's it. So when I understand, and you know what, I can see it, the caliper doesn't just come off. The discs are the diameter is so much that you can't get it past. What you got to do is you got to kind of stretch the caliper open So I twist it back and forth a little bit, and it allows me just to slide it up out of the way. And there you go. I'm going to pull this bracket out, this little piece out of here. That's going to give me a little bit more play so this stuff isn't yanking on it. And that just basically goes in here. With the exception of this piece, I'll repeat the same process on the other side, and we should be good. I'm going to, while I'm in here, the front brakes are almost brand new, so we don't need pads. This is a feeler gauge, and I'm just going to stick that in there to keep that from closing. So when I rack the other side, it won't close those discs up. The weight on the front wheel is light. It's not a lot of weight. It tends to lean forward. The ZG had an open piece that allowed you to actually put a jack under there safely, and it would sit on the engine block. This doesn't have that. This actually has the exhaust that wraps around it. So it's really not recommended to hold the bike's weight up, but if you have it on the center stand, then your weight is going to be pretty light. These are the headers right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a floor jack here with a piece of wood that will spread the load across the 4 header pipes. Now I've already checked this out. Doesn't take much to lift the front wheel. So just by doing it, I'm just going to raise it just enough to get the weight off the wheel, so the wheel will free spin. I also have it slid up forward to where it's at the bend on the pipes, so it's at its strongest point. So there'll be no lateral pressure, no bowing on the pipe. And it should be fine. Providing I don't get on the damn thing and start hopping on it, it's fine. It can sit there with no issues with the wood across the thing, so there'll be no gouging. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the next step here is there's 2 pinch bolts on either side. This one I'm going to just back them away. These were not torqued properly. This inner one was loose. And to me that's a good thing, because I'm finding issues that correspond to what could be an issue, right? 22 millimeter. I'm just going to crack this loose. Beautiful. This point now, I'm going to loosen up the pitch bolts on the other side. I'm going to jack it. I'm going to get the weight right off this wheel, and then we can pull the wheel out. So get a little bit of weight off the bike. There you go. Pull this out of here. Push that in. There you go. That's greased pretty good. That's nice. I'm glad I'm seeing that. I've heard stories that the axles on these bikes aren't greased very well from the factory. So we're going to pull out this, drop it down. I'm going to lay this on some cardboard, obviously, because grease attracts dirt. I like to take the spacer out of here. There's your spacer. Goes in that way. I'm going to back this up, and then that drops out of the way. I'm going to put it behind there. And there it is. That is your ABS sensor. The wheel is out. Very uneventful. It even says it right here. I don't know if you can read it. What Wes was talking about earlier. Notice, do not put a magnet near this part. There you go. Okay, let's get this thing up on the wheel balancer. I'm just curious. All right, for some strange reason, I have this, I don't know, it's an OCD thing where I keep shutting the microphone off. And I'm not very good at remembering to turn it back on, so I think the whole tire balancing routine was mute. Oh well. Camera's on now. The microphone's on now. That's wow. Okay. Anyway, I'll just show you. I know I got the video of it, but I'll bring the whole thing. Let's show you here. Initially, this tire was balanced, and it had these two weights over here. So when I was testing the balance, this kept showing up as a high spot. No, I'm sorry, this kept showing up as a high spot. So, or the light spot, light end. So I took the weights off and started over again, and come to find out, by using the same amount of weight, split it on either side of this, I wound up with a perfect balance. So when I spin this wheel around, it never winds up in the same place twice. There you go. So that's that. If the audio didn't come through, I'll dub that in. So here's the magnetic ring. You don't want to mess with that. There's a nice lip here that thing rides on, and this is your grease shield. So I'm just going to put that there. I've had the screwdriver a million years. But all you need something like this. Kind of get it in behind there. I got that there so I just don't nick anything, and you know what? You can reuse this. That's in pretty good shape. I'll just clean it up and blob a piece of grease on it. Those are the Yamaha bearings. Those might be original. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Caps are good, sometimes not. So I managed to get about 50% of that up. I'm just going to, rather than tweak it, I'm just going to pull up the other side. It comes right up, and it's fine. The flexibility of these things is so good, they just come right back into shape. This has been done to death on YouTube, I know. So you got a bearing on this side, a bearing on the other side, and there's a sleeve in there. And the idea is to kind of knock that sleeve down a little bit so you can catch a lip and start whacking it out. These bearings have been greased recently, so I think the front wheel's been serviced, but I'm putting a new set of bearings in it for my peace of mind. Now, let's try it this way. It's right there. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a lateral, pop it once, and now I'm good. And you start making headway, you can manipulate that sleeve around, and you can go around in different. Get that flat. There we go. Catch it on this side. Catch it on this side. Catch it on this side. There's a couple pieces of wood. One on either side of the hub. This is our bearing we were taking out. So we're just going to go ahead and center that. And go ahead, and it's going to be one more love tap. Probably either side. There's one. And that is out. So the bearing's probably fallen out. The spacer is probably fallen out. And there you go. So what you need is a socket that's about slightly larger than the diameter, and then you smack it out of there. Doesn't matter, we're not reusing these bearings. That is one ousted bearing. There you go. I ordered genuine Yamaha. But I'm going to reuse the dust seals. This is all nice and clean. I mean, this is really exceptional. That's a Yamaha. I'm basically going to go in there. So what I need to find is a socket that is going to be slightly smaller than that. So the winner on this one is 1 1/4. I use this socket a lot on bikes. It's literally the diameter of this less a little bit. So we know we're not going to get caught putting that in. Like so. And then just tap it. I'm sure you heard that because I did. So we hit it, it pinged, and then I kind of favored here and favored here. 2 more hits. And that sat it in. That's in there. So, take this. Put it in. This is the way it came out. It doesn't matter, but the way it came out, that's the way it'll go in. There you go there. Alright. Then cycle, repeat, right? So that's where it's supposed to be. That's sitting in there where it's supposed to be. I'm just going to confirm on this side. And that's nice. Yep, okay. I'm just going to go ahead and seat it. There it is. A little infamous sound. I'll just spin it and give this one more love tap. That's it. That's it. Those bearings are installed. First one I took out. Go ahead, do that. That's already sized for it. Let's give it a little love tap. Boom. Ditto. Whoops. I don't know what. The insides of these grease. Dust caps are well oiled, so we're good. That's it. Wheel bearings installed. Fantastic. We're done.